Hi, I'm Roland Smith. It's an honor to be representing the Moderna team today, sharing a small piece of how we scaled up our COVID-19 manufacturing using AWS. Most of you probably remember some version of this timeline. After early news reports, it was clear that the coronavirus posed a broader risk to the world. Within Moderna, we started talking about how we could leverage our mRNA platform to respond with a potential vaccine. On January 13th, 2020, we completed the design of the vaccine, and 25 days later, we shipped our first vials for the phase 1 clinical trial. From the first batch to the phase 3 results, and then the emergency use authorization, the entire company worked together as one to scale our processes, expand our capacity, and produce as many doses as possible for the world. As of April 12th, we have shipped approximately 132 million doses worldwide. The work I'm going to share today is a small part of how we leveraged AWS to achieve this outcome. As you can imagine, it's been a pretty intense 14 months at Moderna. Working on this presentation was really the first time I've taken to step back and think about what the key enablers really were, at least from a digital perspective, that made our response possible. First, I think, was the science of the mRNA platform. Not just the nature of mRNA itself, but the years of research and investment we put into understanding the fundamentals of the science. Second, and maybe the most important, was the people. People and culture are a fundamental part of our digital success. There were so many heroic efforts across Moderna to get to where we are today, I couldn't possibly do them justice. But it was the partnership, our operating model, and our digital culture that helped us maintain our vision throughout such unprecedented growth. The final enabler was our manufacturing experience and integrated digital landscape on AWS. In 2016, after our first positive clinical trial results, we made a bold decision to build our own clinical manufacturing site. Those early foundations were key to our COVID-19 vaccine response. Responding to the pandemic was about quickly adapting what we already had and selectively innovating only when it was a necessity to allow us to get more doses to patients. In the next 18 minutes or so, I'm going to talk about how we designed the site, how we scaled it, and how we helped enable our incredible manufacturing, quality, and supply chain teams to execute on their mission. Before we dive into digital, I want to talk briefly about some science, because the nature of the mRNA platform really is fundamental to how we designed our systems. As you know, our bodies contain DNA. DNA works like the hard drive of life, holding all of the instructions to make the proteins our bodies need to function. The instructions stored on the DNA are used to create mRNA. That mRNA only exists temporarily and is then transcribed into proteins. In the case of the COVID vaccine, we use mRNA to instruct the body to create a protein that looks like a small piece of the coronavirus. Seeing just this small piece trains our immune system so that if we encounter the real virus, our bodies know how to respond. The power of this platform is that by changing just a few lines of sequence, we can manufacture a different vaccine or therapeutic using the same processes and equipment. This means that the value of our digital investments multiply with every additional product we make, and the insights we gain from our data expand with each vial we produce. Our investments in our platform have allowed us to bring more than 20 different programs into the clinic. Moderna is a lot more than just a COVID or a vaccine company. Our manufacturing site was built to accelerate the potential of the mRNA platform. The site was designed to be high product mix, high throughput manufacturing, and since its inception in 2018, prior to COVID, we have produced material for more than 15 clinical trials. The site won the 2019 International Society of Pharmaceutical Engineers Facility of the Future Award. According to ISPE, the three things that differentiated the site were vertical integration, where we have an end-to-end manufacturing capability, including clinical scale filling. This includes a personalized cancer vaccine unit, which with its rapid cycle times and high turnover helped us to industrialize our platform early on. Flexibility. We designed the site to be modular and adaptive so we could respond quickly to change. Most equipment is mobile, ballroom suites can be reconfigured, and we can complete the tech transfer of all digital systems to produce a new product in a matter of days. And finally, the site was designed to be native digital. Without the burden of legacy systems, we were able to think differently about automation, integration, and end-to-end processes. With these foundations in place, we needed to support producing up to 1 billion doses of vaccine, scaling our processes, systems, and infrastructure, extending our manufacturing capability to partners, and doing it while maintaining our digital strategy. As we work to achieve these goals, we needed to remain flexible for changes and fast evolving timelines. As you might guess, timelines only ever got faster. This is a simplified view of our manufacturing landscape that represents our systems and integrations. All of the boxes in green reside on AWS. While many companies are trying to move to the cloud, Moderna was built on the cloud, so we had perhaps the opposite challenge of trying to adapt our cloud strategy to enable critical operations. To do this, we started with business processes. We looked at information flows between processes and equipment, and we chartered about 60 integrated systems projects that were delivered together to achieve one vision. This, with empowered teams and our digital culture, we're able to build and operationalize the site in under a year. Understanding the processes, equipment, and failure modes allowed us to design the integrated landscape where more than 90% of computing takes place in the cloud, primarily on AWS. The technology is designed around the operator because we believe that good user experience means more efficient process. The information flows between systems and equipment allow the operator to drive manufacturing from a single terminal. To balance flexibility and resiliency, we have a small footprint of virtual computing that can buffer data and alarms to maintain control in case of a disruption. Some key technologies in our landscape include Dell Boomi, which allows us to consistently leverage over 45 validated integrations using a single integration bus. We have an ETL toolkit of products that allow us to quickly add new data sources to our data pipeline and push data from most of our systems into our AWS warehouse. As we prepared to scale up for COVID vaccine manufacturing, nearly every box on this landscape was touched to increase capacity and ensure performance with the increasing workloads. Each of those efforts had their own unique design and challenges. For today, I'll highlight just one example. As an early stage company, the decision to build on the cloud has really paid off. Having our S/4HANA system on AWS allowed us to adjust, extend, and adapt what we knew could be exponential growth. With fully integrated manufacturing and labs and a growing global footprint, we needed to be ready. Time was of the essence, and we were able to use AWS CloudFormation to reduce the migration times between environments while maintaining and meeting regulatory testing requirements. You can see from this diagram that we added multi-zone replication and the capability for multi-region failover. I'm not the guy to talk through every block on the screen, but using this toolkit of services, we were able to reduce our recovery point objectives, add resiliency, and scale our instances to industrial strength Linux servers. We knew that data would be essential to drive operational and financial decisions, so we deployed SAP Data Services to enable real-time ETL to Amazon Redshift. SAP was an early dependency on several other projects, including serialization, commercial order management, and global expansion. We had about a 4-month window, and we were able to upgrade and finish the re-architecture in only 3.5 months with the help of AWS, SAP, and our dedicated teams. I think one of the more inspiring experiences of the pandemic has been how many vendors reached out unsolicited to offer us help on our mission. With this upgraded foundation in place, we were able to sustain our growth, maintain our timelines, and deliver on global expansion. Driven by SAP, shop floor operations are controlled by our manufacturing execution system, which also resides on AWS. Using AWS Direct Connect, we can read data from simple instruments such as scales or rockers. We use PCS traditionally to control utilities, but leverage it less traditionally as an integration bus to our smart equipment. On the smart equipment, we have built modular, product-agnostic recipes with composable building blocks that can receive operating parameters from our batch records. Each new product starts with a tech transfer, which tells us how the product will be produced. From that document, we create a bill of instructions for operators, a bill of parameters for equipment, and a recipe which details the required building blocks to make the product. This approach, combined with several other design decisions, allowed us to introduce a new product into our environment within a few days in a controlled, validated manner. To maintain control in case of a disruption, we historize and buffer all data and alarms at site with only 2 on-site production servers. This modular design and kits of identical process equipment function kind of like computing infrastructure. We can scale up with process changes, or we can scale out by adding additional kits to produce more vaccine. This kit-based approach has allowed us to extend our manufacturing capability to our CMOs to increase overall capacity. To get our first CMO sites up and running, we were even able to transfer our electronic batch records to our partners for use. This has helped us increase our capacity while supporting consistency in an overall control strategy, leveraging data. Data really is at the heart of everything we do. There are 3 things that have helped make our analytics strategy faster and more adaptive. First, we integrated most systems from the start. This gives us common primary and foreign keys between systems so that when we move data into the warehouse, we can more easily connect and join data sets. Second is our modular design for all products. This creates consistency in how we capture, calculate, and store data. This allows us to connect dots between products. So for example, we can quickly compare quality attributes between 2 products based on 1 or more input variables. Having this structured data prevents us from getting hung up engineering around inconsistencies. And finally, we use a lightweight ETL approach with an emphasis on extracting and loading data from the source systems. Once the data is in Redshift, with the common keys and consistent context, we can build validated views to combine data sets to drive insights. This approach allows us to do what we call proactive data sourcing, where we think about the models required to answer a broad set of questions, and then we prepare the data in the warehouse before it is needed. These controlled views are leveraged both within manufacturing, by users, and by our digital colleagues. You can see on the diagram that data can be consumed by multiple tools based on the need. We have a controlled statistical layer, we have a BI platform, and we have a controlled reporting solution for regulatory agencies. An advantage of keeping our business logic and our controlled views in Redshift is that we can more easily swap out or replace tools at the presentation layer. This layered approach has allowed us to onboard dozens of data sources, and we have quickly passed over 1 billion rows of data in Redshift. adding 900 million rows in just the past few months. That, of course, does not include equipment time series data, which far dwarfs those numbers. With the flexibility of this model, we've been able to extend our data strategy to include our partners. Because we use standardized kits, we have been able to connect all equipment data through OSI Pi Cloud Connect and manufacturing batch record data through a near real-time ETL connection. And with the same batch records across sites, we're able to easily combine the data to monitor processes and performance. Other benefits we've realized with our data are identifying cycle time improvement opportunities, analyzing causes of variation, and more effectively applying statistical models to our stability data. One of our guiding principles from the start was to design our infrastructure and systems for compliance. This includes both how we shape our processes and how we use our infrastructure components. To do this, early on, we built an integrated quality management framework in partnership with our quality colleagues. Aligning procedures from the start has helped us to better collaborate on compliance and build trust. Our 3 pillars of compliance are to control, enable, and demonstrate. Control is achieved through policies and procedures to test systems, manage change, and govern access. We have enabled compliance and data integrity using services such as AppStream to present select applications and immutable S3 buckets to protect our Veeam backups. To demonstrate control, we perform periodic reviews of all changes, evaluate performance issues or errors, and we verify access and permissions. To make reviews more sustainable, we have deployed metrics on all of our servers to monitor both logins and changes, and we've deployed Dynatrace to alert us of potential system issues. We aggregate all of this data and events through Splunk with the goal of soon achieving a true continuous compliance monitoring framework. The flexibility of the cloud and the strong partnership we've had with quality has allowed us to build and maintain a cloud landscape that meets and perhaps someday will exceed what might be possible with traditional infrastructure. The final enabler that has helped us achieve our objective was our people, including employees, contractors, and vendors. Moderna has a truly digital culture. We build digital into everything we do, and that has helped form strong partnerships throughout the organization. This digital mindset helps remove friction from the solutioning process, and close collaboration helps us focus our energies together on the highest value needs. Our operating model was designed to prevent silos of systems or data. We try to organize our work around value streams, and we think in terms of integrated data and processes rather than starting with a specific technology owned by a specific team. This allows us to improve overall experience and collect higher value data. And finally, we all work together toward a single mission: to deliver as many high-quality doses of vaccine to the world as we can. Thank you. Thank you for listening today, and thank you for your support.